Good morning, guys. So this is your lesson for today, Monday the 21st. Kind of like what I talked about on Thursday. Our warm-up for today is kind of going through those last few multiplication problems that we didn't really get to kind of go over in depth. We only had enough time to share out the answer. So I want to show you the work that goes along with those three problems in case you made any mistakes along the way. You can correct it. So your warm-up will not be on the piece of paper that we were, having normal warm-ups on. Pull out your table from Thursday where, here's our picture of a blank table. It was the multiplying decimals. Multiplying decimals. It was that one where we really only went through the first 5 of them. I did 2 of them, and then these are the 3 that technically you guys did. I don't know why I have these numbered wrong. Let me fix that. Erase, click. This is actually question 3, 4, and 5 from Thursday of last week. In the green is the answers that we were supposed to get. So let's go through how we were actually getting those answers. On question 3, we have 0.9 times 2.2. When we're multiplying with decimals, for now we just pretend like our decimal is not there. And we just multiply these 2-digit numbers like we normally would. Meaning we start in the very bottom right corner. We multiply straight up, then diagonal. So I'm going to go 2 times 9. Remember, you have your multiplication chart as a good reference. 2 times 9 is 18. So I put my 8 down, carry my 1. Diagonal. 2 times 0, ooh, that one's tricky. Anything times 0 is always 0. So 2 times 0 is just 0, plus our remainder here of 1. So it's just 1. I'm going to cross off that little remainder. Now when I move to the second digit, I go to a second row and I add a placeholder of 0 to kind of fill in where this first number that we multiplied was. And then we go diagonal and then straight up. So I'm going to go 2 times 9 again. That's just a coincidence. That's also 18. So put my 8 down, carry a new 1. 2 times 0, we saw before is 0, plus 1 is 1. And then I add straight down. Here we have 8 plus 0. Hang on one second. I'm sorry, guys. I need to pause. I think I wrote down the problem wrong. I'm sorry about that. Hang on. Okay. So I was wrong. I wrote down the problem wrong. You guys had 8.9 as this problem, and I accidentally rewrote it as 0.9. And I was sitting here like, this isn't going to add up right. Oops. So I know that's, you're probably sitting there like, what, Ms. Horner? This isn't our problem. You're 100% correct. It was not your problem. So unfortunately, I need to erase all this and start again since I wrote it down wrong. It is 8.9. Oop. Man, I am so sorry about that. I'm sorry if I ended up confusing you there. I apologize. So I'm going to start over and pretend like that didn't happen. Our real problem, we still go the same way. We start in the bottom right corner and we multiply straight up and then we multiply diagonal. So I still start with 2 times 9, which we have established was 18, and I carry my 1. Then when I go diagonal, we're actually doing 2 times 8, and 2 times 8 is 16, plus this extra 1 of 17. That's looking better. Still, we need a placeholder because when we move on to a second digit, we need something to kind of fill in where the first one was. And then we go diagonal and then straight up. I'm going to cross that off. So again, we go 2 times 9. That part hasn't changed either. That's still 18. So I put my 8 down. I carry my 1. 2 times 8, well, that's 16 plus 1 is 17. That's looking better. And then we add our numbers straight down. 8 plus 0, that's 8. 7 plus 8, let's see, that is 15. So I put my 5 down, carry my 1. 7 plus 1 plus 1 is 7 plus 1 is 8. 8 plus 1 is 9. And then there's this little, it's not in here, there's actually another placeholder, 0. So it's really 0 plus 1 is 1. Now when it comes to figuring out our decimals, we have to go back to the original problem. 8.9, it has one number after its decimal point. The other number we multiplied was 2.2. This has one number after its decimal point, which gives a total, if I added these, 1 plus 1 is 2. So that means we have to move our decimal 2 spots, and we move it to the left. So I put my pen or pencil next to the 8, and I go 1, 2. So I'm drawing 2 loop-de-loops, and I stop and draw a point. So that's how we get that final answer of 19.58. If you were like me and actually make a mistake, make sure you correct anything that we didn't get to on Thursday. The next question we had on Thursday's class was 2.5 times 2.7. So our goal is to get to the answer of 6.75. We start off the same way. I always start in the bottom right corner. So I multiply straight up and then diagonal. So I'm going to, that's supposed to be done. I'm going to do 7 times 5. Well, 7 times 5, let's see, that's 35. So I put my 5 down, carry my 3. 7 times 2 is 14, plus 3 is 17. When I move on to the second digit, I need a placeholder, so I'm going to draw that in. And on the second digit, we go diagonal first, and then we go straight up. So I do 2 times 5. 2 times 5 is 10. So I put my 0 down, carry my 1. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. And then we just add. So I have 5 plus 0 is 5. 7 plus 0 is 7. And 1 plus 5 is 6. Now we got to talk about those decimals. In our original problem, 2.5 has one number after the decimal point. In our second part of the problem, 2.7, this has one number after its decimal point. So that gives me a total of 2 numbers after our decimal point. So in our answer, we need to move to the left 2 loop-de-loops. And then we stop and draw our dot. And so that's how we get our answer of 6.75. Moving on to question 5. Or what was question 5, technically from Thursday. We have 4.3 times 6.6, and we're supposed to be getting 28.38. So starting the same way, bottom right corner, I multiply straight up and then diagonal. So I do 6 times 3. 6 times 3 is 18. So I put my 8 down, carry my 1. 6 times 4 is 24, plus 1 is 25. When I move on to my second digit, I need a placeholder. And then I go diagonal and then straight up. So I do 6 times 3, that's also 18. So I still put my 8 down, carry my 1. 6 times 4, well, that's fun. It's also 24, plus 1 is 25. And I'm going to add. Notice I don't have the same number digits on the top number as I do on the bottom. So I'm going to add this little placeholder 0 in that first row, just to make my adding a little bit easier. So now we have 8 plus 0, that's 8. 5 plus 8, that is 13. So I put my 3 down, I carry my 1. 2 plus 5 is 7. 7 plus 1 is 8. And 0 plus 2 is just 2. Time for our decimal placement. And our first number of 4.3, there's one number after the decimal. And our second part of the problem, 6.6, there's still one number after the decimal. And this gives a total of 2 numbers after the decimal point. So in our answer, that means we need to draw 2 loop-de-loops to the left. And we stop and we draw a point. So that's how we got our final answer of 28.38. Hopefully that helped you guys kind of fill in any mistakes maybe that may or may not have been made from Thursday last week. Pause, do whatever you need to do to get everything written down from this part from Friday. Today, kind of what I was telling you on Thursday, we are going to finish dividing. So today we'll finish. We haven't started our dividing of decimals yet, but we're going to get through that in today's lesson so that we can move on to brand new stuff tomorrow. So that's our learning objective. That's the IWBOT, and it's divide decimals. So hopefully by the end of class, you'll be able to divide some decimals. I need to change my page to kind of get ready for our division of decimals. So just like we've been doing, this is, for now, the last time we'll draw 10 boxes on our piece of paper. If you've already done this because of Thursday's class, that's okay. If not, please pause the video now to make yourself 10 boxes and title the piece of paper Dividing Decimals. Okay, so now you should have your paper ready to go. We're actually only going to do 9 problems, but we can't nicely draw 9 boxes. So you will just have one box that is empty. You'll have box 10 in the bottom right corner. That one will for sure be empty, but that's okay. Please pause the video right now to just copy down these first 4 problems that you see on your paper. Good, okay. Now move down and copy down these 4 problems. Please pause and get that written down. You're not doing them, you're just writing the problem. Good. And then finally, box 5. Please pause for just a moment to copy that problem down. Great. Okay, so we should have 9 problems written on our piece of paper now, all with the title of Dividing Decimals, because regardless, that's still our learning objective. Hopefully by the end of class today, you'll kind of remember how to divide decimals. This will probably be our warm-up tomorrow, is doing a little bit of multiplying decimals and a little bit of dividing decimals. I'll try to keep bringing that in so we don't forget this stuff. I'm going to just pause for a minute here. Well, I say pause. I'm going to switch my screen to go to our handout for dividing decimals. So the decimal rules handout that is on our Schoology site, but is also what we copied down on Thursday. And I want to talk about our division box. So remember this set of bullet points, all the stuff that we spent so long writing on Thursday, these are in case we ever have brain farts and we can't remember, what's the next step to solve these kinds of problems. And so in these bullet points, there are some new words, especially in the first bullet point. There's something called a divisor. A divisor is just the number on the outside of our division house. And it's really important to know that if there's a number outside the house and it has a decimal point, we don't like that. We can't really divide very well if there's a decimal outside the house. So then, second bullet point says, well, move the divisor decimal, so the number outside the house, we have to move its decimal so it becomes a whole number. And however many times I move it on the outside is what I'll have to do to whatever number is in the inside of our division house. The number inside the house is called a dividend. Don't worry about knowing those terms. But I did want to expose you to that math vocabulary. Once we've moved our decimal, either on the outside and then on the inside, wherever it is on the inside, we just bring on upstairs to the very top of our house. And then we're going to divide like normal. Now, I'm probably going to need my multiplication chart. So let me move this over to the week I'm working on right now so that I have it pretty easily accessible. Okay, I am back here. So now let's actually get going here. The first 5 problems are where we will not have to move our decimal point. The last 4, so 6 through 9, we will need to move our decimal point. Question 1. We are going to divide 9.63 and 9. Now, on the outside of our house is a 9. There is no decimal point. So I don't have to do anything with that number. The only thing I need to do is find the decimal point inside my house and kind of bring it upstairs. I'm just going to rewrite it exactly where it is at the very top of my house. This tells me I'm going to have a decimal in my answer, and it kind of helps to break up our division problem. So let me get a new colored pen here. So I'm going to take one digit at a time. I'm going to try to do 9 into 9. I want to figure out how many times 9 goes into 9. Well, using that multiplication chart. Let me erase this. Here's 9. I'm trying to get to 9. How many jumps did it take me? It took me 1 jump. So it can go into itself 1 time. This is technically multiplying. 1 times 9 is 9. And then I subtract. 9 minus 9 is 0, so that's there. We only bring down one number at a time. So I'm just going to bring down the 6 now. Can 9 go into a 6? Well, let's just go check that multiplication chart. I'm still under here, column 9. If I'm just looking down this list, all the numbers are actually bigger than the number 6. What that means is 9 cannot go into it. So it goes in 0 times. It can't fit into the number 6. 0 times 9. Any number times 0 is always 0. So 0 times 9, 0. And I'm still subtracting. Oy. So now I have a 6. Bring down my last number of 3. So now I'm going to figure out how many 9s fit into the number 63. So I go back to that multiplication chart. Now I'm going to look down the list. So here's column 9. I'm going to go down, just looking at my numbers. Oh, wait a minute. Here's 63. It comes into 9 perfectly. And how many 9s did it take? Or how many jumps did it take? And if I count, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 jumps. Or 9 times 7 gets me 63. So back to our division problem. At the top of our house, we get 7 jumps of 9 gets me 63. Oh no, I didn't leave enough room. And when I do 63 minus 63, we get a final answer of 0. So our complete answer is 1.07. I got to write smaller next time. I know these are challenging. These take a lot more work than the other problems we've had to do. Let's go move on to question 2. Question 2, we have 6 into 2.82. So we have no decimal outside our house, so we are good to go. All we have to do is bring up the decimal inside our house so that it's written at the very top. And we'll take it one number at a time. 6, trying to go into a 2. So let's go to that multiplication chart. Now we're looking at column 6. Just look down this list of numbers. I'm looking for just a 2, not like 12. I know there's a 2 in that number, but it's not just 2. And all these numbers are actually all bigger than the number 2. And that means 6 can't go into 2. So I put a 0 at the top of my house. 0 times 6 is 0. So remember, any number times 0 is 0. And we subtract. Well, 2 minus 0, that's 2. Now we bring down one number. So my next number is 0. So now I'm trying to fit in 6 into 20. So I'm going to go to my multiplication chart, and I'm going to look at how close can I get to the number 20 without going over. Maybe it comes in perfectly, maybe not. So we're looking down the list. We have 6, 12, 18, 24. Oops, 24 is too big. I have to stop right here at the number 18. Well, how many jumps did that take us? Let's count. 1, 2, 3 jumps, or 6 times 3 is 18. So that means at the top of our house, I write the number 3. This is how many jumps it took. The number we landed on was 18. And if I do 20 and I take away 18, see, that gives me 2 left over. Let's see, is this one going to work out perfectly? Uh-oh, I need to make one kind of tiny little fix. Can we make in our problem, instead of 2.02, can you erase that and write 2.04 instead? I want our numbers to work out nicely. Sorry about that. Then we can bring down this 4. So I'm trying to figure out 6 into 24. How many 6s fit into that? So now I'm going to look through my list. Let me erase that. Going down, I'm trying to get as close to 24 without going over. But wait a minute. 24 is actually on my list, which means I fit in perfectly. How many jumps does it take us? 1, 2, 3, 4 jumps. So that means 6 times 4 is 24. So at the top of our house, we write 4. That's how many jumps it took us. Where we landed was 24. 24 minus 24 is 0. So our final answer is 0.34. Hopefully, this is starting to bring back some memories from last year, and we'll hopefully catch up. Okay. Let's move on. We have 3, 4, and 5. This is what I want from you guys. I want you to pause this video. I want you to just attempt these problems. Take whatever time you need for it. And then when you're ready, or like to check your answers, unpause and come check your answers with me. Or after you attempt them, if you get stuck, unpause so you can figure out where we have to go and where you got stuck and how to get unstuck. So please pause and attempt questions 3, 4, and 5 at this time. Okay, so if you have unpaused, you're either checking your answers or you got stuck and need a little help, and that's no problem. Question 3, we're trying to get 5 into the number 6.45. There's no number on the outside of our house, so we just bring up the decimal inside, and we take one number at a time. So we're trying to get 5 into 6. So we're trying to figure out how many 5s fit into the number 6. And if you use your multiplication chart, let me erase this. We're now looking at column 5, trying to get into the number 6. Just looking down this list. Let's see, 5, 10. Oh, I can just stop here at the number 5. Everything else is too big. How many jumps did it take us? 1. So 1 times 5 is 5. So in my house, at the top of it, I write 1 because it can get 1 5 inside this number. Or 1 times 5. That's 5. And I subtract. 6 minus 5 is 1. Now I bring down just one number at a time. I'm going to bring down my 4 now. And we're trying to figure out how many 5s fit into the number 14. So I go back to my multiplication chart. And I'm going to look down this list and see, where do I have to stop? I'm trying to get to a 14. Oh, I got to stop right here at the number 10 because the next number after that is too big. How many jumps did it take us? We should get 1, 2 jumps. So 5 times 2 gets me 10. That's how close I can get. The number of jumps goes at the top, so 2. The answer to our jumps goes below the 14. In other words, 2 times 5 got us that number of 10. And then we subtract. 14 take away 10. Well, that leaves me just a 4. Bring down my last number of 5. Trying to figure out how many 5s fit into the number 45. So just looking down this list, let's see, I might have to scroll down here to get to my 45. Oh, right here, it goes in perfectly. So let's count how many jumps it's gonna take us. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It took us 9 jumps to get there. So I put a 9 at the top of my house. 9 times 5 is 45. When I subtract, I get 0. So that means my final answer is 1.29. Okay, questions 4 and 5. I'm going to just tell you the answers, okay? So if you wanted to see more, please let me know tomorrow in class that you needed to see a little bit more on those 2 problems so that I know to go back. On question 4, we should have gotten the answer of 0.22. And for question 5, we should have gotten the answer of 0.55. If you needed to see the work for these 2, let me know tomorrow. I'm happy to go through that before we move on to our new stuff. Okay, I don't want to make this video too long. So we'll see if we even go through the remaining 4 problems. We'll try, but I don't know. Let me pause for just a second to get some stuff set up. Okay, so the issue about these last few problems is where our little chart that we wrote down, those rules for dividing, really comes in handy. And it comes in handy because on the number outside our division house, so if we look here at question 6, we have 3.9 outside our division house. We don't like decimals outside our house. And so in order to actually divide, we really need to move that decimal to make it a nice whole number, no decimal points. So to make it a nice whole number, I want you to put your pen or pencil on the decimal point, which I accidentally just erased, and I want you to move it 1 loop to the right. And if I move my decimal 1 spot to the right outside the house, I got to do the same thing on the inside. So put your pen or pencil on the inside decimal point, move it 1 loop-de-loop to the right. I want you to draw a little arrow. We're going to rewrite our problem. So now instead of 3.9 outside the house, we have 39. Oof, that's a big number. And then we have 382.2. Now that there's no decimals outside the house, I bring that decimal upstairs. Oy, now these are pretty big numbers, wouldn't you say? Oh, trying to get 39 into, 382.2. Well, that's a bit tough, isn't it? Well, I know that we probably don't know these 39s off the top of our head, and that's okay. I know that it's not even on our multiplication chart. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how we solve these problems for 6, and then I'm going to let you use a calculator to figure out the other problems. But we have to set them up first. So when we don't have something on our multiplication chart, or we don't know the multiplication facts for that particular number, we do a lot of side work. So where we just have to do a lot of multiplying on our own. So what I'm trying to do is multiply 39 enough times that I get real close to 382. So I just start with 39 times 2 and see how close that gets me. Well, that's 78 because I do 2 times 9 is 8, carry my 1. 3 times 2 plus 1 is 7. And I'm going to keep doing that because I only have 78. 78 is really far away from 382. So I'm just going to really make my own list, like kind of a mini multiplication chart for the number 39. And I'm just going to kind of write them out for you. 39 times 3 is 117. 39 times 4, oops, that's a weird 4, is 156. I'm still real far away. Now we have 39 times 5. 39 times 5 is 195. 39 times 6, man, this is gross. This is why Miss Horner's going to be really nice and let you guys use a calculator for the last few problems in just a second. Hey, I'm getting closer though, don't you see? I'm not 234 and I'm trying to get to 382, so I'm getting there. Now I have 39 times 7. Man, I don't want to keep doing this, but I gotta. That gives me 273. Hey, now keep going because I'm trying to get real close to 382 and I'm still kind of far away. So I'm going to do 39 times 8. 39 times 8. Let's see, what is that? Oh, it's 312. Oh, at least I'm in the 300s now. Keep going. Let's see if I can get closer. 39 times 9. 39 times 9. Let's see, what is that? Oh, that is 351. Real close now. If I do 39 times 10. Well, that's 390. Gross. That's actually too big, which means I have to stop right here at 9. So I want you to put a 9 just right next to the decimal on the left. 9 times 39 was 351. And we're going to subtract. If I subtract 381 and 382, and 351, 2 minus 1 is 1. 8 minus 5 is 3. 3 minus 3 is 0, so I'm just going to not write anything. And I'm going to bring down my 2. If you don't like not writing anything, it's okay to write a 0. That's not a big deal. Now we're trying to get 312. Well, good thing we made this big list of 39s because now I just need to look at my numbers. I'm looking for as close to 312 as I can, and it actually works out perfectly right here. It takes 8 sets of 39 to equal 312. Ew, that was really a lot of work. And I know you're like, Miss Horner, I don't want to do this. I get it. These are really big numbers. I wanted to show you how we work with them when they're so big like that. But don't worry, for your 3 questions, you'll be allowed to use a calculator once you have it set up. What that means is for 7, 8, and 9, we're going to rewrite our problem, and then I'll show you how to get to a calculator. So number 7, we have a 7.6 at our house, and we're trying to fit it into 34.2. We don't like decimals outside the house, so we have to move it. Well, how many times do we move it? Just once over. If I move it once on the outside, I have to move it once on the inside. So really, we're going to deal with 76 on the outside, trying to fit into 342, the decimals at the very end of that 2, and we bring it upstairs. I'm going to come back to this problem to show you the calculator, but we're going to set up the other problems first. Same thing. Question 8. I have a decimal outside my house. I don't like it, so I have to move it. I'm moving it only one time because there's only one number after the decimal. If I move it once on the outside, I have to move it once on the inside. So really, we're trying to fit 54 into 118.8. Bring your decimal upstairs. Again, we're going to come back to this one. Last but not least, just getting this problem set up. Same deal. I have a decimal outside my house. That's not okay. So I have to move it. And I only have to move it one time. But if I move it once on the outside, I have to move it once on the inside. So really, we're going to use our calculators to figure out how many times a 93 goes into 585.9. Man, aren't you glad you don't have to make your own multiplication table for these numbers? This is awful. So how we get to our calculator? On your Chromebook, you can either go into a web browser and type calculator, or your computer should have one. So where you can kind of search things, which I believe for you guys is still in the same spot as me, in the bottom left corner, I want you to type in calculator. So that is spelled CALCULATOR. And it should have a built-in calculator. So here mine popped up. If you just click it, it brought up a wonderful calculator for us. This is how we're going to do these problems. When you type it into a calculator, you first type the inside number first. Type this first. Then the division symbol. Then the outside number. I know that sounds kind of confusing, but let's do this together. So I'm going to type my inside number first, which is 342. Then I'm going to divide click the division symbol, divide by the number on the outside, 7, 6. What does that give us according to our calculator? It gives us the number 4.5. And then you can call it a day on that. Last two problems. Same thing. Type inside first, then the outside number. So pause, type the answers in for 8 and 9, unpause to check yours. Okay, let's check our answers. If I type in 118.8, division symbol, number on the outside is 54, we get 2.2. Hopefully you guys got that same thing. Let me know tomorrow if we're having any problems with our calculator. Clear it. Last one. 585.9 divide by, see, number on that side is 93 equals 6.3. Hopefully we got that answer. Let's see, how much time do we have left? This is a pretty long video, I'd say. I think it's okay to stop. Tomorrow, we'll probably just do some VMath at the beginning of class so we can just get caught up on that. You're welcome to log on to the VMath website now if you have time to work through those. Otherwise, don't worry about it. We'll deal with it tomorrow. You guys know I'm pretty flexible about that stuff. But make sure you get this all copied down. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.